Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be discussing why Portsmouth is a fucking shithole. It is a complete utter dump and there's no reason to visit this shithole of a town. Let's talk about why Portsmouth is so crap. Let's begin. To start off with, there is Portsmouth's wonderful Spinnaker Tower. And by wonderful, I mean not very wonderful, because the people around this area seem to think this is some sort of tall structure. It really isn't. If you're someone that actually looks at this and thinks this is tall, you're someone that hasn't really experienced the world much, because to be honest, it's not a particularly good structure. The viewing galleries that you go up to, which you have to pay decent money to actually go up to, are only 100 metres high. And that is just not worth it for me. Let's just remember the sort of things I've done. Considering his viewing galleries is 100 metres high, I've actually been on the rooftop of buildings over twice this height and not just looked at a view, I actually dangled my legs over the edge of a building and looked at a view. And when you get an experience like that, the very thought of paying to go and see a view only 100 metres high is just not worth it. Also, as well as this, the Spinnaker Tower used to have two lifts. One lift on the inside and one shaftless lift on the outside. Let's take a look at the shaftless lift. Oh, it's gone. They couldn't actually get their shaftless lift to work. I'm not sure how many times this actually ended passenger service. From what I remember, they didn't actually seem to work at all and they had to use the inside lift, and in the end it was such a crap lift they actually got rid of it. Now, considering over in Benidorm you get Arona lifts going up the outsides of buildings, and let's face it, Arona's not exactly that well known for their quality, yet Arona are able to make these shaftless outdoor lifts just work really well. It seems to be a speciality, and the only sort of lifts they produce are actually really good. So considering Arona can do it, and is a cheap Spanish company, how comes they can't get a working shaftless lift on this structure? If we take a look here where the shaftless lift used to be, notice these doors at set intervals up the structure. These are the emergency escapes from the lift, which are required to put in by EU regulation. So these escapes are still there, which shows you where the lift used to be, except there's no other signs of the lift. The Spinnaker Tower really is a load of crap. And next to the Spinnaker Tower, there is a lift for the shopping centre. And why install a proper lift for your shopping centre when a little lift that's no more than a platform lift with a cab does the job just as well, doesn't it? Like, a proper lift's expensive. Why have a proper lift? A platform lift with a cab with automatic doors? Hey, no one's gonna notice it's not a proper lift, are they? Except it's already fucking broke, it doesn't work, and you can clearly see how fucking cheap this piece of shit is. Let's now go to the shopping centre. And to be honest, this is the sort of thing which really starts to make me lose my interest in the whole subject of lifts. This shopping centre had Otis 2000 lifts, and despite these not being that old, they've already all got either modernised or replaced. So some of them were modernised with Dewhurst buttons. I guess the lift had an overhaul and it's now got a Drewscrub voice, which the voice is the only good thing about it. Other ones got a full replacement by Cone with Cone NMX 14s. And while I much prefer Cone NMX 14 to an Otis, do you really think his lifts will be there for that long? The shopping centre's probably going to replace them in 15 years time. Even though I do like Cone, and Cone could last a lot more than 15 years, most likely they replace their lifts every so often on a replacement schedule. So these lifts most likely will get replaced in 15 years. And that is depressing, because if you think back to the 1960s, when they really did build proper lifts, they built lifts designed to last ages. Lifts could last 50, 60 years back in the 1960s, because they built a really heavy duty. The lift wasn't there as something you replaced regularly. A lift was built as something to stay, something that would always be there and could always be maintained, because they built lifts heavy duty back then. In the modern day, lifts seem quite replaceable. They're not designed to be there for that long. I'd find that depressing. It loses my interest. Even if it's a nice lift that's installed nowadays, how can I take an interest in something when I know it's going to be gone in so many years' time and another thing goes in, but that one only lasts a few years, then another lift will come. It takes away the thing that was special about lifts that got me interested in them in the first place. Anyway, let's take a look at these modernisations. Well, the Otis didn't last long, did it? Because it had been replaced. NMX 14, lower basement. Cone screens look so much better than Otis's screens. Actually, this level's pretty good as well. NMX 14 to the rescue. It saved us from the shit Otis. In pre-door? Yes. Oh dear. The Otis didn't last. This has been modernised by Otis for us. It didn't last that long to have a mod. This has got Drewscrub, which is nice.
Lower basement. Doors opening. Doors closing.
Rear doors closing.
Ground floor.
That's just quite efficient.
Opening.
So now we go along to a hotel. What lifts will this small scale hotel have? Well, they've got shithole lifts, just to spread the shitholeness of Portsmouth. These lifts are utterly crap. They are so fucking cheap. How on earth can anyone get away with installing such rubbish? These will not last 10 years. These are generic lifts using Lisa logic, and the lift is a Kleeman lift kit. Lots of people call these lifts Kleemans, even though it's literally a lift kit. Kleeman create these kits of lifts that are easy to install by really cheap generic lift companies. I would not class Kleeman as actually being a brand of lift in its own right. It literally just is generic parts. 3, 2, 1.
Doors closing.
Oh, what a shit piece of shit. Doors closing. The indicator doesn't work. Hoist way.
First floor.
Fucking hell.
Doors opening.
Lisa logic. Kleeman lift kits. We buy the parts and sell them on as a middleman. Utter waste of money, and the lift is crap. And the company installed it, it's called Hoistway, which is the stupidest name ever. And it's got Lisa logic. And now we go to the next lift, which is in a casino. A place where dumb idiots with too much money go and waste it away. Which is probably a good thing, because I guess it helps pay the tax bill. But sadly also, people without much money often are drawn into casinos and then lose lots of their money. It's pretty disgusting. The lift in here is an Otis 2000 hydraulic, but hey, it's already got modernised, because things get modernised quick in Portsmouth. Modernised with shitty Leicester controls, and the mod is by TEC, the escalator company. This is a very low effort mod.
Going down. Please mind the door. Doors closing.
There's seriously all we're going to see here. Leicester's
Going
by
down.
TEC, the escalator company. But it's a lift.
Floor -1.
That's a shithole. Oh, guess what it used to be before it was a Leicester? An Otis. So then, now we go along to a car park. Quite a nice 60s brutalist looking car park, and the lifts here have been replaced. Replaced by Pickerings. Now Pickerings has to be the most depressing situation of any lift company I know of, because they went from being a real lift company and turned themselves into a generic installer. This case just makes me feel really depressed and sad, and this shows how rubbish lifts are in the modern day. Now considering in the past Pickerings used to build their own lifts. As a small company they built some very interesting and very quirky lifts. It was their own little designs of lift, completely separate, completely individual, and really interesting. But not anymore. Despite their lifts actually being good, they've stopped building their own stuff, and they've fallen into the low of becoming a generic shithole which just installs parts just like all of the others, and they're no longer anything special. Do you remember a long time ago there's a company called Pickerings that actually built their own lifts? Well, guess what they've turned into today? They've turned into a shithole. I find this really depressing. I think Pickerings has to be the most depressing generic lift company, because they weren't generic. They used to build ever interesting own designs. They were quite unusual, quite different to anything else out there, but it was their own unique stuff. And what they turned into? This utter pure crap. How can a company let themselves go? How can they go from an actual manufacturer to this shit? It's really depressing. So the bosses of Pickerings have decided, rather than build our own stuff and be our own lift company, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We just want to be a crap installer, installing like everyone else. Pickerings went from a company you'd see quite often. Right, do you see Pickerings very often nowadays? No. Pickerings are very rarely seen, because there's nothing special about them. It might as well be a Jackson's or, I don't know, a Stanner or anything else, because there's literally nothing about this to make it Pickerings anymore. There's nothing Pickerings about its lift apart from the name, because it's a generic shithole. Oh my days. bad.
Please mind the door.
It's really fucking bad. Sure, that's the wrong work. I know it did.
Doors open. Ground floor. Please mind the ground floor. Doors closing.
Oh my days, Pickerings, what have you turned into? And the second set of lifts in this car park have been abandoned. Oh, there's nothing left of this. It's gone. No, it's got, I reckon. And now we go to the hard bus station. I don't know where the soft bus station is located, but this is the hard bus station. Or at least it was, as the bus station has been pulled down and has been rebuilt into one of these very bland, modern day, uninspiring things. The old bus station used to be 70s and quite interesting looking, and it used to have a Marriott Scott lift. And also in Portsmouth there is the Hard Dock Cafe. A play on words of the Hard Rock Cafe, except the Hard Dock Cafe seems pretty run down and abandoned. Now we go along to the library. The first lift in the library is the non-stop lift from the ground floor up to the top floor. This lift is a piece of crap, but hey, it's got some key switches to some secret floors. This lift is fucking shit. Oh, leveling's bad. Oh, screens. Lots of screens. No interest in free, no interest in ground. I'm only going to the secret floors. Come on, slow lift. Fucking temple. Shit up. Oh. Oh, there's nothing down. It's boring. And the main lifts in the library have sadly been heavily modernised. There's something very confusing about this lift that on the outside of the lift, the floor displays are old cone displays, at least the plastic fixture is cone. I'm not sure if the display itself has been changed, but that's still an old TMS style display, because inside the lift, the floor display is a new lift logic display. But how can that work in conjunction with an old TMS display on the outside? I'm very confused by this. Also, this lift was modernised by CES, Cunt Elevator Service. And the mod is very boring. Although one thing I like about it is it's got the Scots voice. And by the way, despite the name, the Scots voice does not have a Scottish accent. It's in fact one of the really unusual quirky lift voices, and I actually really like his voice. And despite the modernisation, it's still got its original 70s interior, which is very nice. So go out of that lift, because this lift has got the rare Scots voice. 20. Oh, if only it goes down that far. I really like his voice. Doors closing, going up.
Doors closing, going up.
This voice has got no multiplexing. It's literally a bodge voice. You're wiring in each floor as an individual circuit into the board. I've actually got one of these boards in my collection. So it's got no communication to the logic at all. It's literally wiring in each floor into a pin in the logic, and there's pins for each floor. So you can't even program this board. It literally just says what it says.
Third floor. Doors opening. Doors closing, going down. Ground floor. Doors opening.
And now we go along to the final lift I filmed in Portsmouth, because I just really wanted to get out of this shithole and I was just sick of it, so I didn't actually bother filming all lifts here, but this is the last one. This lift is interesting only because the floor numbering is interesting. This lift serves car park floors, and this serves every main floor. It actually serves every 2 floors because of the half floor arrangement of the car park. But the lift actually serves 3 floors for each floor. This is because there's a secondary part of the half floor's car park, and the secondary part of it, floor heights being the same as the main part of the car park, it counts them as different floors, so you get some very bizarre floor numbering. Plus the floor numbering in the lift does not align with the floor numbering outside of the lift, just to be extra confusing. The lift is an older 70s lift, has been modernised by Generic. DJ. So there's 2 level Gs. You've got Tesco is level G, and A, B, C, F, D, E, J, G, H, N, K, L.
E, J, doors open.
D, E, J. Let's have a look. D, F. What? D, levels. D, E, J. No, it's D, E, F. I don't understand this car park. Level D. Level E. Oh, this is such a weird car park. So that level up there, come down to here, up to there, it's the same height. Is that level there? It's the same height as that level there. But I give it a separate name because there's level J up there. J there, E there, and D up there. Oh shit, it's notice! No, it's not. There's no announcement on that one. Oh dear, oh to put a Delma screen in this generic thing. Fucking opens the doors 2 floors. So it opens the doors 2 floors, that's weird. So, we now leave Portsmouth.